able to do that. One of the biggest problems that we do have, I spoke about it the other night after Maghrib. When somebody asks a question, you give them the answer, then we tell them that Allah says this. Yeah, but we say, they Sheikh het so en so gesê. I don't give a tuppence who the hell the Sheikh is. I don't give 2 tuppence who the so-called Hazrat is. What does Allah say? What does Allah say in the Quran? And that what does Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam say? Let's stop moving and obsessing with what our Sheikh say and our Mufti says and this one says. First look at what Allah says and what Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says. Let's move away from that. Because today we're in a crisis. The entire Sunni world will take a kind of pleasure in doing many things, but is it constructive? Where we can be constructive, we need to be constructive. Because when the elections came, there was no leadership from the leadership. There was nothing. The one Sheikh said this, and the one Sheikh said that, and the one Mufti said this, and the one Mufti said that. Where was the constructive leadership where they said, Muslims, this is what we need to do? We didn't have that at all. Absolutely nothing. There was total confusion. And we need to say to ourselves, as Muslims, what is good for us as Muslims of this country and for the rest of the world? And what was shocking, one of the statistics, they say, in the areas where there were predominantly Muslims, most of the Muslims voted for the DA. It's an insult to Islam. Because you say, ja, is my reg te doen wat ek wil. That's not the way of a Muslim to think. If you look at Palestine, the entire Palestine is Sunni. There are no Shias in Palestine. There are no whatever within the Muslim sectarian views. But the people that are standing up for them are the so-called Shia. So don't walk out here and say, you know, Sheikh supports the Shia. Because you will like to misconstrue what I'm saying. But the fact of life is that these are the people that are fighting for our brothers and sisters in the land of Palestine. The land of the prophets of Allah. And that is why we need to say to ourselves, we need to first also reform our thinking. We sometimes want to make enemies of people who are not truly our enemies. We need to also live, we've lived for years. I was discussing it with 2 African people who traveled with me back from Johannesburg here. And I said to them, the biggest problem we had, when apartheid went, the Muslims also went into a closure. So we had so-called Muslim schools. When we were in apartheid, we went to school with Christians, Hindus, everybody, and we lived in tolerance of different beliefs. Today we don't have that. Because the problem that we have is that if we believe a certain way and taught a certain way of thinking, then that's the only right way. My way or the highway. My interpretation of the Quran is the only right interpretation. The great Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhu, they lived with Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. They were taught by him. But they had differences of opinion. But they were always unified. There's many instances that I can give you. We don't have the time. But the reform needs to come inwardly and outwardly. There needs to be unity. Because at this moment in time, the Zionists don't care who they kill. Be it Sunni, Shia, or whatever. As they say, there's a Muslim, there's fresh. They bomb you one time. They're not even bothered who's there. Even if it was Christians who were there, giving food to the Palestinians, they were killed. We need to wake up. We're still speaking about our petty differences, and the world is burning around us. And that is why, my dear brothers and sisters, you use the example of the Banu Israel in the Quran to illustrate the consequences of neglecting what we call inward reform and the importance of unity in addressing external challenges. We know the history of the Muslims. In the time of the Khilafah of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, there was a war between Sayyidina Ali and Muawiyah and Amr ibn al-As. So the Roman Emperor at that time, he said, hey, the Muslims are fighting against each other. And he decided he's going to attack the Muslims. He's going to attack Sayyidina Ali. They had a difference, Muawiyah radiallahu ta'ala and Sayyidina Ali. When Sayyidina Muawiyah heard that, he sent a letter to the Roman Emperor and said, I have my differences with Ali radiallahu, but if you make one step towards attacking the Muslim empire, I will join forces with him and I will fight against you. We don't know these things. So we're going to be disagreeing and having disagreements amongst ourselves inwardly. But where is the unity when there are external challenges that attack us as Muslims? And that is why we need to encourage ourselves to reflect on our own spiritual growth and the need for collective action to build momentum towards change in our society.